Greetings and welcome to The Dividing Line. My name is James White, and before we get started today, we have a big announcement to make. I was a little surprised that we were doing this right now, but we're doing it right now. I'm not sure what's wrong with my mouse, but anyway, this is a live program. We're professionals. Anyway, some of you know, some of you may recall last October, early November, I had the opportunity of briefly visiting the state of Israel, and I had resisted going. I really had. Mainly because I had been told it was just heavily commercialized, and I don't know, I just didn't, it wasn't a big thing on my list. And I have mentioned that that trip changed my thinking about that in many different ways. And not in the sense of, well, you got to do this so that you can have major spiritual experiences, but as far as being able to contextualize, visualize, put things where they need to be put, as far as the events of Scripture, the relationship of where things are, really helpful, extremely important, highly recommended. And so we've been doing some talking with some folks, and so we have a big announcement to make. And to help me explain all of this, I'm going to refer to her because let me see here. How long, Kathy, how long have we known each other?
At least, I would say 20 years.
20? So you were 2 when we met?
Exactly.
I remember you were young. You were just a precocious child then, I guess. But
yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a long time. And I can't keep track of all your official titles and stuff with Sovereign, but who are we speaking with here for official purposes?
Sure, my official title is the President of Sovereign.
You're the El Presidente. Yes. I don't know how you say that in Chinese, but is there a word? Oh, what?
Zongtong.
Oh, okay. That sounds much better than El Presidente. I can assure you of that. But anyway, I've lost track of how many cruises and things we've done. The last thing we did was, in fact, I was mentioning to Rich, I was saying, well, you know, if she's nervous coming on with me, just tell her to pretend that she's staying on top of the Wartburg Castle.
Yes.
That's where you and I had a really interesting conversation about Martin Luther and Anabaptists and everything else. Just before the 500th anniversary of the Reformation, we had a grand time there in Germany. Well, you and I did. We know some other people.
Yes, that was actually a highlight of my trip there,
well,
to have that
good
experience up top with you over there. So.
That was a wonderful thing. But I was about to say, and then of course we had that incredible dinner that night there at the castle, which was just like a fairy tale type thing. So that was really awesome. But what I was going to say was, you and I enjoyed that. There are certain other people, because of their Deutsche-phobia, that aren't quite as excited when they're in Germany as other people are. But anyway, we won't get into that right now. So we have been talking, and you all have put together a pretty amazing itinerary for what I can only describe as sort of I describe this as a bucket list type trip.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's so many port destinations on this cruise. You're hitting a lot of major must-see ports. So.
Yeah, you are. So I don't even know everything about it, okay? So I'm going to be learning as we're going along. But the thing that immediately should catch everybody's attention is we're talking about Rome and Ephesus and Israel. Is that
and Athens?
And Athens. Well, there you go. So you've got Mars Hill. You've got a bunch of stuff with Paul there, and then you have Israel as well. And I have to explain to people, I wouldn't have understood how this could have worked before I got over there. Because people have the idea, well, how in the world, if you're on a ship, can you tour Israel? Because people don't realize how tiny Israel is.
Right.
It is so small. It's incredible. I mean, the distances that we covered by bus going from place to place in Germany were much longer than almost any of the drives that you can. We would be 3 countries over by the time if we drove as far.
And on the cruise, you get 3 full days in Israel, so we'll be able to cover a lot of land during our time there.
Right. So we've got Jerusalem, and we'll be able to get to Galilee and those things like that. And then
exactly.
And then adding into that now, I haven't been to Ephesus, and I haven't been to Athens. I have been to Rome, very briefly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't realize it was your first time to Ephesus, so that's great. We'll be able to take you there for your first time. It's amazing, especially the excavation that's going there. I think it will just blow your mind to see what they have uncovered.
Well, I've been told by those in the know, and you know who that is, that the ruins there are just light years beyond almost anything else that you can see. It's just an incredible place. Yeah. And of course, Paul spends 3 years there. You've got Acts 17 in Athens, and of course, there's all sorts of things we can talk about in Rome too. So there's just so many things packed into one trip. But that's a long ways from here. It's sort of helpful that we are announcing this, because we recognize that for a lot of folks who'd want to do something like this is something you got to save up for. This is something you got to make plans for. We're not talking about to go in next month. What are the dates for our trip?
So our dates for the Holy Land cruise is September 26th through October 8th, 2020. So we are more than a year out. Right. And plenty of time to save. That's
right, and our folks need that. Now, I also need to mention that we have a website up, and I'm scrolling back through all the messages. There we go, and it is theholylandcruise.com, which looks like theholylandcruise.com or something like that. It looks like there's "and" in there someplace, but the Holy Land Cruise, all one word, .com. And when you go there, you may be asking a question, well, who's going to be doing the speaking on a trip like this? And that's when you will discover that there are 2 of us primarily, even though there will be others, obviously, who will come along and will be involved as well. Because when you go and visit these sites, so for example, last year, I got to lead a Bible study on John chapter 6 at Capernaum on the seashore next to the Sea of Galilee, which was pretty amazing thing to be able to do. But the 2 of us primarily doing the speaking on this trip will be myself and my fellow pastor, Jeff Durbin, who will also I'm going to change that. I was going to say early in the morning, because you know that I'm an early morning person.
Right, because you go running. I know you're going to schedule those in as well.
So you and I will lead the morning running people, because I have pictures of you and I running with, it's sort of sad. I know you're in London all the time, but it's sort of sad right now. Big Ben, I mean.
Yes, I know, it's covered up.
It's totally covered up. It's like, and it's quiet. It's sad, but we've got a good picture of you and I running with Big Ben in the background, and Big Ben was still doing his Big Ben thing back then. But we'll do the early morning stuff, because I happen to know that Jeff Durbin is not an early morning person. So maybe he'll do some late night karate exhibitions or something like that. I'm not really sure, but
well, we do have those scheduled times for our theology talks. I know those have been a big hit.
They have
on your past cruises.
They have. I don't know if you didn't. I bet you didn't see this. I'll send you the link to it. But just yesterday, Jeff posted a video I'm not sure if you heard the craze on the internet right now where people are kicking bottle tops off of bottles. And
you know what? I hadn't heard of that, but I actually saw the video.
Oh,
it
you
was
did
quite impressive.
Yeah. So Jeff Durbin will be speaking and doing security all at the same time. It's a multitasking thing that we've got him doing. So, but no, Jeff and I will be speaking, and obviously at each one of those locations there is just so much that we will be able to. Well, there's so much that we won't be able to cover. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, there's just only so much time.
Right. Well, the great thing that we'll be able to do with Sovereign and Alpha and Omega is that we customize these shore excursions specifically to what you and Jeff want to teach and want to see. So that's the one great thing we do. It's not just the typical excursion that Celebrity does, but we really cater it and customize it to what you want to do. And then as well, we have our included lectures while we're at sea, and you have the benefit of teaching there. So it's great all around as far as deciding on, who to go with on your Israel cruise. Right.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there isn't all that much time at sea in comparison to a lot of cruises that you might do. And when we're in Israel, how many different ports do we go to in Israel?
So we have, let's see here, 2 days in Ashdod and 1 day in Haifa.
Okay.
So typically we'll get, a full day in Jerusalem, a full day in the Sea of Galilee area, and then also we can visit the Dead Sea on one of the other days, and perhaps Masada.
Qumran. Yeah,
yes.
I'm sure Jeff is listening right now. And so the fun thing we're going to have to be doing for the next couple of months is like having competitions as to, okay, who gets to do the study while standing with the background is Qumran Cave 7, where the Isaiah scroll was found, or 4, Cave 4. Who gets to do that? Let's see. And he'll challenge me to kick something, which I can't do because I would break every bone in my body if I tried that. But I'll challenge him to ride a bike up a mountain, and he can't do that either. So that's how we'll work all this stuff out.
All right, sounds good. We'll decide that way.
You don't want to do any of those things? That sort of sounds like it would be fun. But but now
we'll leave it. Ryan might be able to.
Oh yeah, Ryan. I want to see Ryan do the bottle cap kicking thing. Let's not go there. No, Ryan, stop. I don't want you to hurt yourself. You hurt yourself way too often as it is. Now when we were over there, we didn't do the cruise type thing. We just did the tour in Israel type thing. And so you'd have to go to different locations, and then you'd stay the night in different places. So it's pack up, drag your luggage out to the bus type of situation. The advantage we have here is you get settled in your cabin, and the next time you pack up is when you're done.
Exactly. That's the beauty of the cruise product.
Yeah. That is really, really, really nice. Now, we will be spending time together on buses because you got to get to where you're going. But again, people, the thing I've tried to communicate to people is that when I stood on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, I was stunned to realize that you can see the other shore wherever you are. So north, south, east, west, you can see all the way across. And that just gives you an idea of how small Israel actually is. And so you can get to places. I mean, I think the longest bus ride we took may have gotten close to an hour. And I think that's when we were going from way up near Galilee all the way down toward the Dead Sea area or something like that.
Right, that sounds about right, depending on traffic. Yeah,
depending on traffic, yeah. So the big advantage for a lot of folks will be, if you don't like the packing, unpacking thing, that this will be really, 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 really nice. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So that is a tremendous opportunity. So we're talking about October of 2020. Now, my understanding though is that there is now obviously will our folks overseas be able to contact you?
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, obviously someone in Europe has a bit of an advantage on those of us who aren't, as far as... as far as that goes. But they'd be able to contact you all, and you all would be able to work out how all of that works.
Exactly. Feel, anyone, wherever you're from, if you're interested, feel free to contact us, and we can definitely help you get on the ship.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got friends down in South Africa that I think would very much like to be able to do this, and so there is. Look, Sovereign knows everything there is to know about the international travel biz, including passports and stuff like that. So if people have questions, don't ask me, don't ask Jeff. We will give you bad information. Ask the people who actually know. And they will be able to help you with all of that kind of stuff, because it's extremely important to know.
Absolutely.
How to
and I just wanted to mention, I don't think we named the name of the ship we're going to be on.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be the Celebrity Reflection. And I know you've been on some celebrity ships in the past.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Celebrity?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you know, the funny thing about me, and that won't be the case on this trip, is I rarely get off the ship.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that.
I am not the excursion guy, but obviously this time that's the whole reason is to be the excursion guy. So I spend a lot of time on ships. When everyone else is getting off, I'm up on the rail going, "Have a nice time, guys. Hey, see you later." And then I'm off enjoying the gym when there's nobody up there and stuff like that. But all of these ships are just amazing. I compare them to the first cruises that we took back in, what was that? Good grief. When was that? 1999 or something like that?
I think so.
And we were on, I remember it was the Carnival Imagination. That's all I remember was... Yes, but no, we've been on some beautiful, beautiful ships. I haven't been on this one. The picture looks great, but the food is always just amazing. And if you're expecting to lose weight, anyway, no, actually, on this trip we do so much walking.
It is. It's quite intensive. It will be definitely an intense trip.
Yeah, you might actually even things out, but. You ain't going to lose too much because the food on board and stuff. But we're going to be spending a lot of time off ship. At least I want to, because I want to spend as much time as I possibly can in places like Ephesus and Athens and obviously Israel and places like that.
Right.
So.
Well, I just wanted to mention a couple of things about pricing for those who are interested in going and wondering how it works with the excursion pricing. So all excursions are an additional cost, so you can actually pick and choose which ports you'd want to go out and participate in the excursion. So it's not included in the cruise rate. So just wanted to make that clear. And then also we do have an early savings rate. So if you sign up by July 22nd, and yes, that is this month of this year, you'll get to save $150 per person. So we kind of have a couple of weeks here for a really, really good discount. So encourage everyone to sign up before July 22nd. Now,
that's signing up and providing a deposit, not the whole thing.
Exactly, just a deposit, correct.
Yeah, I was going to say, most people are going...
So just deposit, and then you have the full, about a full year almost to make your final payment.
Okay. I know that trips like this are, for a lot of folks, it's a bucket list type thing. It's an opportunity to see places you only dreamed about ever seeing. And so, flights and things like that can be challenging and can be expensive, but you're talking about seeing stuff that you've seen in pictures, but to actually stand there and to be there with other people, and it really is an amazing experience. I wish I could tell you all about Ephesus and Athens, but this is going to be a first for me too. But it certainly was my experience, especially in Galilee. Seeing the first century synagogue at Migdal, which would have been Mary Magdalene's synagogue, to know that those stones probably heard the Lord preaching and teaching there is just, there is something truly special about that. And for those of us who are really intent upon handling the word correctly, it really did add that element for me in a real big way. So you've got that plus what's happening outside of Israel. It's going to be incredible, and we're looking forward to October of 2020, which I'm really glad, because October is before November of 2020, and November of 2020 is crazy time here in the United States. So we'll be able to actually escape the ultra crazy part of it and be gone for some of the most nasty time periods during that, and then come back and be a part of the process, I guess. But well, Kathy, thank you very, very much for taking the time to help us understand this and make the announcement. And if folks have questions, I don't have the website in front of me, but yes, I do. But I'm sure there is a means for contacting.
Yes.
Yep, there's a contact button over on the right hand side, and they can talk to one of the highly trained staff. Oh, yes, Rich. Oh, okay. And Rich would like to speak with you after I say bye-bye. So
thanks so much for having me on.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to put you on hold here a second. There we go. All right. Thank you, Kathy. And so there you go, folks. I didn't know about Athens. All I knew about was I knew we were doing Rome, going to and from Rome. Which obviously means that there's been some discussion of doing something before in Rome. We haven't finalized any of that stuff yet, but as far as like a conference type thing, which would be beyond the cruise. But we've got folks in Italy, Germany, all over Europe. So we'll be looking at trying to do something along those lines. But, you know, getting people from here to there ain't cheap. I understand that. I understand it's a huge investment. It's a once in a lifetime thing. This is not, we've done cruises in the past where it's, Eastern Caribbean, and you're gone for a week. And that one trip we did was like $289 or something like that. I mean, okay, but that's not a bucket list thing. That's not Rome and Ephesus and Athens and Jerusalem and Garden of Gethsemane and the Mount of Olives and Capernaum and everything else. And obviously, I would like to think that having Jeff and I teaching during the course of the entire trip will be awesome for us, but also hopefully awesome for everybody else as well. So obviously, we will be highlighting a lot of not only the historical and things like that, but the apologetically relevant elements of the trip. So really excited about it. So go to the Holy Land Cruise. I'm scrolling back again. There it is. The Holy Land Cruise. All one word, nothing. It's just as it's spelled. TheHolyLandCruise.com. Just HTTP / TheHolyLandCruise.com. And obviously, I'll link it up, and I'm sure we'll have a banner ad probably by the end of the day. And here we go. So let me mention one last thing before I switch topics. There is another major ministry that is doing a very similar itinerary. They have almost 300 people on the wait list. Same amenities, same locations, and 300 people on the wait list. There you go. In all probability, we'll sell out because we've got a lot of friends in Europe. So I almost feel badly for our American friends, but give them a call, talk to the wife, ladies, talk to the husband, talk to the children, and find out just how much you want to be able to see these places and remember these places. I can't help, I'll be honest with you, I can't help when I read John 6 now, but to see Capernaum, to see the synagogue, to see what's supposed to be Peter's house, whether it is or it isn't, don't know. Would have been nearby one way or the other. But especially, I cannot help but see the Sea of Galilee, the shore and the sea, and see the boats coming across. And I know which direction they would have come from. Lord, how'd you get here? Can't help it because I've seen it now. And it was special. So first thing I'm thinking is when I get back is let's do it. Let's see what happens here. And so there you go. So Alpha and Omega Ministries together with Apologia Church, I've got a connection between them both. And Jeff and I will be doing the teaching, and it will be super exciting. Also, pray for us next week. We are going to be doing some recording and some stuff on Mormonism, Jeff and I together. And I think it'll be really exciting stuff. And so keep that in mind as well. Don't be asking questions in channel. There's no one in there who can answer your questions unless Unical Man joined channel, which he hasn't done in about 10 years. But then he could answer those questions. But there you go. All right. Again, thanks to Kathy for joining us. And she said what president is in Chinese, and it's right out of my mind. I can't remember a thing. Sorry about that, but that's the way it goes.